Hey, what's going on, man? This is Will Z Tidwell with Skybox Conversations, man. The Hoop Power. We talk about all things hoops, everything from the Los Angeles Lakers, man, to a college level. My favorite team in the world, Arkansas Razorbacks, baby, is Woo Pig Suey. Man, had a very interesting game tonight. Against I almost said the Charlotte Hornets, but it was the Portland Trailblazers, and I almost said the Charlotte Hornets because as stretches of watching this game, this is what this game gave me: PTSD, because there were so many similarities in this game to the game last night. In that weird game that we lost against Charlotte. But I would say the only difference is that we were able to pull it out. And we made the tough plays down the stretch that really made the difference for us. And I'm going to talk about, a little bit more about that. But I literally tweeted this during the game. I said, this literally feels like living the same night twice, referring to the Charlotte game last night. It was a mucked up game a lot of times. There were lots of sloppy play and turnovers, low scoring and inefficient for the most part. Especially I think late in the third, it was still like 76-72 or 70-7. It was just that type of game. And then there was this stretch where Avija, I'm guessing is how you say his name, and the Blazers overall, it just seemed like they just could not like miss to save their life. Like they were hitting everything that they put up. And yeah, man, that gave me PTSD. And there were some things, within the game that had you worried, for instance, I think we can start right here, the turnovers and the sloppy play. And you ask yourself, man, what led to so many turnovers and what led to such sloppy play? I think you can contribute it to a couple things. I think you're still just trying to, get that rust off from being off for those 6-7 days. Like you said, just adjusting and sometimes just being careless with the ball, and then also when you have dudes like Austin and LeBron, with the ball in their hands so much, sometimes that can lead to higher turnover rates. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at it, let me see. Overall, I believe we had 24 turnovers, which led to 31 points for the Blazers. I mean, and that's how you kept them in the game right there. There were times in the game where we convincingly had our foot on their neck, so to speak. But when we start playing sloppy and then we start making shots, and we start being careless with the ball, then they got hot and they went on this run. But given having damn near 25 turnovers, that allows any team to get back in it. LeBron had 11 turnovers, Austin had 6, and again, you have to understand that they have the ball in their hands a whole lot. So you that's understandable, but it's just like, damn, bro, 11. He was still a +8, mainly because he had 40. He didn't miss a free throw. He was 50% from the three, and he was damn near 60% from the field goal range. So that made up for the 11 turnovers. But damn, 11 turnovers. You know what I'm saying? So that is the moments where it was like, man, we're being careless again. But I will say this: I think one of the big differences why we were able to win this game is that the effort was there. The defense was there. We were playing some really good defense, especially in that first half. At times, we were playing really solid defense. We were a lot crisper in that regard, But again, there were just times where we just wasn't hitting shots, and it really did. But that's the number one thing that stuck out to you is just the turnovers and the sloppy play. Um, and again, you're going to contribute that to a couple of different things. You can say, it's the break. You can say, it's LeBron and Austin and them trying to adjust, trying to do too much, just being careless. Man, you can even talk about, Portland's physicality. Like there was like this switch in the game where you could tell that Chauncey told his team they don't like physicality. They don't like aggressiveness. They don't like people being in a shit, and it bothered us for a while. I mean, there was like this 4 or 5 minute stretch. I felt like maybe longer, but for sure this stretch of like the third quarter, maybe early fourth quarter, where I just remember. No, it was a third quarter for sure because LeBron was going off in the fourth and eight, and then also took over late in the fourth. But it was like there was this stretch where it was just like they were in us so much, it was bothering Austin. I think this is where 3 or 4 turnovers for Brian came in. I feel like this is where 2 or 3 of those turnovers happened for Austin, where they were just being super physical, pushing you off the spots, getting into you early, doing that work early, not letting you get into what you wanted to do. Turning them away, making them stand up. Like they were being super, super aggressive. And Trevor said something key. Trevor Lane with Laker Nation, man. He said, it kind of felt like that Detroit game where those big dudes and a lot of length and athleticism, like the Thompson twin and Duran and Cade and Tobias and all these dudes, these vets and stuff like that, were being super physical with us and they got the best of us, and just out hustled us. Right, they hit big shots too, and that's what this game was starting to lean towards. But tonight, the resolve was there. JJ just said it in the presser. Uh, uh, the poise was there, and that's true because they really did try to have this wave where they tried to like get us off our pivot, take us out of what we were doing, and make us super uncomfortable. But we played through it, and we did what we needed to do. And I'm very proud of those guys for that, man, because this could have been a very bad loss. Um, but we also did some of the really good things, the intangibles, which we're gonna talk to about that in a minute. We're gonna definitely talk about that in a minute. Um, well, you know what? Let's start that now because I do feel like some rotation players played a big part in the success we had tonight. Gabe hit a. I remember they had closed it within two. I think it's 72-70. Gabe took Williams, Robert Williams, a third one-on-one, came across the lane, hit a pull-up, and gave us a 2-point lead or gave us a 4-point lead. And then another time came down and got a charge. Right. Then I think Brun turned it over, and then Austin came down and got a charge. Jackson Hayes had a big block on Robert Williams. Like I think we did some intangible things, and as we talk about the effort was much much better tonight. And those type of plays, I feel like, in my opinion, saved us. Dodo with the putback with the one hand, with about a minute left or so. Even though Portland went on like a 4 run after that, but like that putback, like that's just effort. That's the intangible things that don't always necessarily show up on the scoreboard or show up in the box score. But if you do these things, you give yourself a chance to win every single night, literally. And that's what JJ Redick just said. He said, "Man, it's cool to have strategies and plays and all of the signals and all of this stuff. That's cool." He said, "But you know what really gives you a chance to win in this league? It's effort. It's effort." And I think Gabe, and on top of the amazing performance that Austin have on the offensive end, he did some great things on defense, especially at the end of the game. The strip on Jeremy Grant, like I said, the charge he took at the end, um, man, just great things. He jumped the passing lane a couple times and got out in transition and ran. Like it was those things that really really um, helped us win this ball game tonight, man. And another thing, when you talk about rotations and things, Jemison gave us some solid minutes, and it seems that at least in this game, Trey Jemison took those minutes from Alex Lynn, and Alex Lynn was pretty much, not able to get on the court tonight, and he's played like he's been unplayable. Like even last night, he just kind of looked like he was just in the way. Um, and I really would like to see the Lakers go ahead and say, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and give this other roster spot to Jemison. Now, does that mean you drop Alex Lynn? I don't know if that's what that looks like, but um, man, Jemison gave you some good minutes, and I wouldn't be mad at him taking those minutes full time, right? Because man, he's solid, he's strong, he said good screens, he's an energy guy, he rebounds pretty well. He doesn't protect the rim great. They had a couple of dudes that finished right over him, but I think he can do more than what Alex Lynn could. Because last night we even talked about this where I think Alex Lynn had a damn near a goose egg across the board, right? So let's look at real quick. Let's look at what Jemison did. real fast. Let's see. Let's see what that look like. So Trey Jemison gave you 14 minutes, very similar to what Alex Lynn gave you. Lynn only played 10, and he gave you 4 rebounds. He was a +6. He had 6 points, 3 for 5, so 60% shooting. Like that's decent. That's what you come on the court to do: rebound, guard the other dudes. Protect the rim the best you can, and score when you had the opportunity to score. Like that's what you ask of him, and that's all you can ask of him. And then you also had to notice where there was a time where Jordan Goodwin basically was getting closed out minutes over Shake. He was in there over Gabe. He was in there over Hayes, but I don't think that was so much like a demotion type of thing for Hayes and Gabe and them. I think he just wanted to go small, like he even said in the post game, like we went small because they went small. And he just matched up, But even those role guys is stepping up, man. That's the point. And playing a big part in this win. It was impressive. It was impressive, and I think it's a reason why we were able to win. If I'm being honest with you, man, rotation and the adjustments that JJ made and seeing that, man, it was impressive. It was impressive. Now we can definitely talk about this. LeBron was doing LeBron like things, man. Second game this season where he is 40 years old and scored 40 points. I mean, what else is there to say? You feel me? Like this man is testing time, every single day, and I really hope we're not taking it for granted because one day we're gonna look back and be like, man, this dude was really doing this shit at 40 years old, bro. We're gonna look back one day and be like, bro, this dude was freaking insane. And him and Austin combined for 72 points tonight. That's tough. That's tough. And it was on a night where you needed every one of them because Rui didn't have a great night. Rui did not have a great night. Gabe didn't do much offensively. Let me see. Dorian Finney-Smith was a +20, but he's always super, super solid. Jackson Hayes was pretty solid, but you just didn't get a whole lot of scoring help. 2 people off the bench scored. Gabe and Trey Jemison, they scored. We got 13 points off the bench. So like you needed every one of those points from LeBron and from Austin. And it makes you raise a bigger question. Should you be worried? Because LeBron has been trying to give the keys away to a number one option other than himself for 3, 4, 5 years, bro. Especially I feel like really after that championship, he's been trying to give the keys to AD. He's definitely going to try to he's going to give the keys to Luka, right? And to Austin. But it's just like wanting to give those keys to them and then actually giving them to them and them being able to deliver. Those are 2 different things. Now, I'm not too worried because again, you do got Luka Doncic, one of the top 5 dudes in the league and in the country, in the world, over there sitting on the bench and didn't play tonight, even though he doesn't have a minute restriction moving forward. I would imagine he's just getting rest for this upcoming Denver game. Is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's just getting some rest for that Denver game, and getting ready to come out because that's a very important game. Denver won again tonight. They're on a 9-game winning streak, so that's something to keep your eye on. Because we're gonna have our hands full with that one. And I'm gonna also say this when you talk about role players. This is gonna be a true test also for us when it comes to this Denver game to see just how bad it is with our bigs, or if we can actually hold our own and be okay. You're gonna be able, I think this is gonna be a great test when you go up against a dude like Jokic to see, is Jackson Hayes actually holding his own pretty damn good? Obviously, he's not. We know what he is, but it's like he's been looking pretty good. So this is going to be a game where you can say, what does that really look like? Is he down there just getting babied and destroyed, or is he holding his own pretty good? Then he's still catching the lobs and running the floor, and making the right reads and doing those type of things and trying to be somewhat of a rim protector, kind of what he looked like tonight. Like, can Jemison come in and be strong and physical and give Jokic problems and not give him problems? You can't shut him down, but like, can you try to slow him down a little bit? Can you make it difficult on him? Like, I think that's going to be a true test on Saturday to show us just where we really are when it comes to our bigs. A great test for us, because when you talk about should we be worried, you don't want LeBron to have to go out and get you 40 all the time. But like you said, you needed every one of those buckets tonight. I mean, there was a point in the game where he came out in the fourth quarter and Brown went on an 8-0 run by himself. And you needed all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like you needed all of that to stretch the game back out and to get a little cushion. And even then, we talked about it earlier. This Blazer team, they went 9-1 at one point this season, just not too long ago. Like Chauncey Billups got them playing much, much better. But it's like they were relentless. And you need every bucket Brian gave you, and that does. I'm not gonna say it worries you, but it's just like Rui, I need you to keep being the top 3-point shooter you've been. Gabe, I need you to keep doing what you've been doing. You know what I'm saying? You get Vando back, Vando back hopefully for the Denver game. You get Luca. Hopefully he can get a little looser and knock even some more of that rust off. Because I'm not worried about him, but it's just like, huh? I would love to see you have a decent or even just a better game. I think people are overreacting, expecting him to come out and have 35, 15, and 10. He's very capable of that, but it's like you got to figure out some things. You got to figure out the system and the offense and the flow and the rotation, all the stuff we talked about last night's episode after the Charlotte game. So we know JJ got his work cut out for him, but I think he can figure it out. I think if anybody can figure it out, it's JJ. Let's talk about Austin Reaves a little bit, man, because again, him and LeBron did combine for 72 points tonight. Um, man, Austin just looks so. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but I made it up freer. He looks so much freer. Um, with Luca not on the court or with LeBron not on the court, when he's able to play with one other star, whether that was AD or whether that was Bron or whether that was haven't played with Luca, obviously just him two yet, but like when he is able to have the ball in his hand and dictate things and be a decision maker, man, it's flawless. He he man literally turns into 2018 James Harden. Not literally, obviously, but like man, he looks so comfortable out there. He can do whatever he can get wherever he want. He play at his own pace. You can't speed him up. He knocking down shots. He just looked great with the ball in his hand, man. And I really, 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 really that JJ got to consider bringing him off the bench. I really do think JJ got to consider doing that, man, because you want him to keep having that freedom. And if you don't bring him off the bench, you at least need to stagger his minutes more where he's playing with that second unit with Gabe Vincent a whole lot more. He need to be like when you take one of them out, LeBron or Luca in the first quarter or whatever. Man, that's when Austin need to be in the game even more. Or when you take, and then I feel like sometimes you said that Luca. I've heard rumblings. Even JJ said it himself, where Luca and LeBron probably would never be sitting at the same time. But I feel like at one point in time, you got to at least try that and see what that look like because you need to have those stretches where Austin just having the ball and getting busy because it's clear that he is so much more comfortable with that ball in his hand. And we got to see what that looks like when he has to become more of an off ball guy. Because right now, sometimes it feels like Luca is being the off ball guy, and we just know that's not his world. That's just not who he is. He's one of the most ball dominant dudes to ever play the game, and that's when he's at his best. And so, yeah, man, JJ definitely got his work cut out for him, and got a few problems to fall like to figure out. But I think he can do it without a doubt. I don't doubt that he can. Let's talk about the chemistry. When it comes to the chemistry and the cohesiveness and the way we click tonight, did it look better without Luca? Most people gonna be like, "Yep, it did," and that's a problem. But you gotta understand, this third game. Of course, it looked better. But I think what it should show you is that Luca isn't the problem. It's just that he's new and he overthought some things, and other people overthink some things when he's on the court because it's this balance of get yours, but when I have to make sure at the right time I get mine. Not passing up obvious shots that a person would normally take because you're so busy trying to get other people involved that you overshare, you overthink, you overpass the ball, right? You overshoot. Like it's getting back to that balance and that chemistry. And we showed tonight with the dudes that have been in this rotation for a while, even with Doe and them, when we don't overthink like that, we can run. That's how we got up 16, 18 points at one point in the game because the chemistry and it was all clicking. It was all making sense. Everybody know their role. And so I think that should give you some optimism that when Luca does figure it out, when his role does become clear, obviously his role is to be a star, but when the way he's used in the offense becomes clear, it should be no doubt that the chemistry will be just the same, right? Um, I still think he got to figure out the defensive end of things. I do. I think he got to figure that part out. But once he does, the sky becomes the limit. The sky becomes the limit, man. And so we talk about looking ahead and what needs to change. Um, I think the obvious thing is to continue figuring out the rotations, so we can still have that same feel and same chemistry and cohesiveness, even with Luca on the court. Um, I think Jemison does need more of those Alex Lynn minutes. He may need to become a full time player so he can actually play with us in the playoffs, especially if you like what you see after Saturday. Um, might have to consider bringing Austin Reeves off the bench. Like I said before, you might have to consider that, man, because he's showing you how dominant he is with the ball in his hand, how he can hoop, how he is a fucking bucket. Bringing him off the bench or being more of a person that facilitates and plays with the bench team more often. Like, yeah, he can still be a starter, but we're gonna stagger your minutes so much where it feel like you're a six man, right? I would say those are the main three. Figuring out the rotations, figuring out how to get Luca acclimated and really going. What do you do with Austin? And Jemison deserves more of those minutes, and I think Goodwin should continue to get minutes, especially valuable minutes, because of the things he's doing that again just doesn't show up in the box score. The defense, the rebounding, the tenacity, him going after loose balls, like he was doing all those things that you could just notice it as you watch the game. He was all over the court, and again, I think those are those intangibles are the reason we won this game tonight. And there's just no doubt about that in my mind. Um, but yeah, man, I think those are some of the main questions that tonight's game, or some main points that tonight's game really brought out. I'm sure there were plenty more. But my goal is to always ask those questions that are drawn from the game and letting you see the game in a different way, or us talking about the game in a different way than the cliches that you hear all around the internet and analysts talk about and all those things. But yeah, man, this game had a very similar feel to the one last night at Charlotte, but the difference was we were able to find a way to win, and play through the toughness and the physicality and be poised, and not waver. Even when they made their run, and they were showing that they were not going away, and we had to put them away, and we did a good job of that, man. So proud of the Lakers, man. Laker Nation, baby, is what it's all about. We got a tough one coming up against Denver on Saturday, and I'll be sure to come back with another video after that. Really gonna be looking again at the bigs to see how that looks, and we're gonna go from there, man. I love y'all so much. Until the next video, man. Peace. Yep.